Hello. Today we're going to be talking about something that has been very popular in the skin community lately, and that is market manipulation by China on specific skins. And we're just going to be running through how it works, why it works, how they make money from it, and how you can potentially do something about it if you can at all. So we're now here on Buff, and obviously you can see this is when the market crashed because of the update. They were at a low of like $300, and now they're all the way up, almost double the original price that they were before the trade up update. And obviously the reason why is that China is pumping them. Now you might think, why would this work, especially if it's being done by a small amount of people who just have a lot of money that want to influence the price of the skin? You may think, well, how are they going to sell them? Nobody's going to buy field tested driver weaves for $3,000. Not necessarily. Now, if they wanted to sell everything in bulk at the same time, then yes, they wouldn't be able to do so, or they would have to tank the market price again because there's something that they're missing, and that's called exit liquidity. When you're in a market and you don't have exit liquidity, you are forced to either not sell or to tank the market price to a point where there is existing liquidity. And obviously at the price of 3,200 on average, there is not much liquidity, but there still is. Now, if you look at trade records on both Buff and on CS Float, you can see that there are sales still happening. Every single day, there are sales happening on these gloves for these insane prices, and every day we see general increase in price. It's still pumping, and it's been pumping for over a month straight. Now, the actual market cap price of field tested driver weaves, if you think about it in the general sense, is not very high. If you go on the current price, which is about 3,000, it's not going to work that way because a lot of these were transacted below this price. So currently, how much this pump costed, that people who pumped it, how much that costed for them as a total, with a cost average, let's just guesstimate, right? Let's say like it's like 1,000 or like 1,500. Your price for this pump was around 4.5, and obviously it's much less, right? Because you're not transacting, not all 4,000 items are being transacted at the same time, and that's not what caused this pump. It's a lower amount of items, but the fact that the item pool itself is small in the relative means that if you buy, I don't know, 500, 1,000, 25% of the market, you're pumping this shit to the moon because there are just less and less people that are selling. So this price goes up, the supply goes down, price goes up. Now, why are people doing this? Most of the time it's because they realize that they have the capital to manipulate, or they obviously they work together with people to have the capital to manipulate market price to a point where they can slowly liquidate their assets and make a shit fucking ton of money, to put it bluntly. If your cost average was around this area as you're pumping the driver gloves, and people realize that, oh shit, these things are getting pumped, and they get on the train, and then there's hype, blah, 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 and it keeps pumping it on its own, you are making a lot of fucking money. If you are slowly able to liquidate without crashing your own manipulated market. And that is something that is much easier to do in Counter-Strike, and obviously people in China are much more accustomed to being able to do that. Obviously in US, people do the exact same thing, but it's on a much bigger scale in financial markets. And China realizes there's untapped potential in Counter-Strike markets, especially if you have a lot of money and you can manipulate price at your will because of how small the actual liquidity is and the cost of it is, if you want to manipulate US financial markets, you need billions of dollars. If you want to manipulate Counter-Strike skin markets, you do not. You need a fraction of it. And so there is a money opportunity here, and that's why people are doing this. It's not just Chinese people, it's just simply people with a lot of money that recognize the power of wielding a CS market. Now, the last question on people's minds is definitely, what can we do? Like, can we hop on these trains? Can we find them before it happens? What do we do when we notice that a skin is being pumped? In my opinion, it is simply a guessing game, unless you understand Chinese narrative, which I don't. But a way you would be able to pump skins early or spot skin pumps early, theoretically, would be to be on Chinese media, specifically CS media, and understand the narrative of what they are trying to push, understand their own culture. You would generally have to become Chinese to know when these things are going to get pumped in advance. I personally have checked to see if there are arbitrage opportunities between Chinese prices and Steam prices. If you check timing, let's check 10:29 at 12 o'clock, about 4,500 yen, yuan, sorry. Now at 10:29 at the same time, it was about the same price on Buff, if not a little more expensive. So Steam is generally matching the Buff price. ARB opportunities are hard here because it's hard to spot the pump as it's happening, even if you're stalking Price Empire, because it's not happening in 24 hours, it's happening over a month. And the prices are generally matching on Western markets, so there are not arbitrage opportunities for these pumps during these pumps. And so, honestly, in my opinion, you can't really plan to this unless you're really invested into finding the narratives before they happen. And the best thing to do is hope that your play skins that you put your money into get pumped by the Chinese. And when you spot that happening, you maybe don't sell immediately, because these things do pump, and they pump like crazy. It is honestly really impressive how hard they've been able to transact these things. I mean, they're on Buff, they're double the fucking price, bro. They're double the price of where they were before. Like, is that not just like the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen in my life? Like, it's crazy that this is possible. And like, people might think my inventory is huge, whatever, but to have the capital to do this, like, I don't have the capital to do this unless I'm investing a huge portion of my overall net worth into Counter-Strike skins, which I don't want to do. But it's a calculated risk for a lot of people, and it's something that is paying off tremendously if, and as long if, Valve doesn't tank the market for whatever you're pumping within the time that you're pumping it. And there's not much you can do about it unless you make this your life, or if you're just rich already. So I hope this video helped you understand why this is going on. Unfortunately, it cannot answer your question on what to do about it, because this has been happening even before the trade up update. This was happening. Chinese markets will pump the price of items to points that are not understandable for the actual supply and demand of the item, and it is strange. And it was honestly part of the reason why Valve tried to bring down the market price of a lot of things, because a lot of things were just priced very strangely or very inefficiently. And I think their update at some point was an attempt to scare people from doing that. If there's volatility, harsh volatility in the market, it's less guaranteed to do this kind of money-making strategy. But I guess they just don't give a shit. Like, they realize they're calling Valve's bluff. You won't do this shit again, and they're just doing it again. And you just better fucking hope that your skins are on the positive side of these pumps, then you might make a lot of fucking money. But other than that, it's a sit and wait game. You generally won't lose from these kinds of pumps in the general sense. Like coverts could go up too. Like if something gold from a trade up is getting pumped, like trust me, the coverts that trade up into these Crimson Weaves have fucking skyrocketed as well, obviously. And so it actually is a pretty wide range of things that could pump in price based on what gets pumped in China, and you just have to hope that it's yours. And that's all I have to say. Thank you for watching.